5:30 p.m. Everyone is present except Eric Gillespie. I believe he is coming, but coming late. So we will start without him. We're going to do the prayer. Okay, we're going to stand up for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today, thanking you and praising you for all the wonderful blessings that you've given us. Be with us today, Lord, as we try to be good stewards of the money of this county, and help us to weigh each decision and to do what is best. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, we're going to open the meeting. If there are any public comments or questions, we can't take any action on that, but we can hear them and take them into consideration at a later date. Anybody? Anybody? And we're gonna close that. Okay, so the first item on our agenda is consideration of legal services for county council. We have a possible contract to vote on for Heather Archibald Peters. So I would like to, I'll entertain a motion to accept that contract and retain Heather Archibald Peters as our county council.
I so move that we, what you just said, so I don't have to say it again.
I'll second his motion.
Collins, Ward. Okay, I have a motion by John Collins, I have a second by J.R. Ward. All in favor? Okay. Nay. Okay, 6-0. All right. Eric.
As much as where it comes in.
Okay. Next on the agenda, Andrew Campbell.
How is everyone?
Right.
If you want to take those and pass them on down, I appreciate it.
Do you guys need one? Feel free to need one.
I think we might have an extra one once we. Yeah. All right, so we've been throwing the idea around about getting a cell phone booster for the courthouse. What I wanted to talk to you guys is try to see if you would consider advertising it and move forward with ARPA funds. We do have a resolution made by the commissioners that we can do tomorrow, but it's your guys' call, so, and any questions about it too. I know it is a pretty big amount. If you flip to the second page, you're gonna catch you off guard a little bit, but it is a lot of equipment. It is a big building.
Okay. Any comments?
And this will just be for advertising for it. So it's really not a yay or nay. It's just if you guys want to move to just keep it moving to approve it for ARPA funds, then
Got those labor and everything?
that is labor and everything.
So my only concern with this is that, and I was for it, and I think that the courthouse needs it. My only concern is some possible issues that are coming down the pipeline that we would need to see about getting our attorney and the commissioner's attorneys involved with first. That's my concern with it. Anybody else?
I think it's definitely necessary. I just don't know if it could be built into another expense in the near future, or is it something we do now and move forward without considering that other option?
Are we talking about possible renovations or
Yes.
what's going down the road?
Yes.
I mean, if you do jump on it, if you do renovations, there will probably be a labor cost of moving it. But it's just domes that mount on the drop ceiling tiles and it's coax. So, I mean, slapping extension on coax and moving it, it's not gonna cost that much to move, but it is movable, the
And
system.
I don't think we're talking about, having that built into the renovation. I'm talking about waiting to spend the money out of ARP money until we're sure what is happening. If we are being.
Well, and my issue is actually, like, we're gonna pay to put it into the courthouse, then we're gonna turn around and possibly pay someone to move it or take it back out and do it again, which,
With the renovation.
if that's on the table as a renovation possibility, I think it's wasteful to spend it now and pay again to move it, if we could maybe just wait and see what happens there.
How
Yeah.
long is this contract binding for?
It's not a contract, it's just a
It's
purchase,
just a purchase, but I
Yep.
mean, what's the time limit on,
however
purchase.
long we need to take.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, these guys really work good with us, so
So can we lay it on the table for right now? Just
Absolutely. I just need a motion.
I move that we lay it on the table for now until we find out more of what's gonna happen with the ARPA funds.
I'm sorry. It's broken, which is why I'm here. So, so I have a motion by John Collins to table a use of the ARPA funds for cell phone booster. I'm seconded by
No.
Miller. All in favor? I don't know.
alright.
All right.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
Deb, give it to me. I'm writing it down.
I'll-
Thank you. Okay. Oh, you're fine. That's all right. All right, next on the agenda, Kevin Hall. Kevin.
Answer.
How we doing?
Okay, maybe start on time.
Good demerits.
You run?
Yeah, oh yeah. 9 miles.
Okay, since we got a lot of new faces, community crossing comes up, opportunity twice a year. There's a possibility of getting $1 million if we match 25%, which equals a $333,333.33. So we can put in right at the 1st of January, which we've done. Kind of working in arrears this time. Next time we'll work in a positive, but just kind of how it fell. So it's 75-25 is what community crossing is. So we applied for the full amount, and that would require us to match that. So really it's $1,333,333.33.
And we've been doing this for years.
Been doing it for quite a while.
I think we budgeted it, didn't we?
So,
Yeah, I think we budgeted it already.
and say we don't get the full amount this round, then we can reapply this summer. And that's not saying we're gonna get it, but if we do, we can possibly use the rest of that money in the second round. It's a good deal as far as, I guess, free money, for lack of better words. Kind of. But that's what we're looking for today, the match money.
Okay, so
I'd make a motion to move forward with the community crossing grant match funds.
I'll second it.
All in favor? It's the 333 matching grant that we've already, okay. 7-0, all right. All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
all right, Mr. Chesser.
Oh, EMS.
Oh, did I already marked you up, I'm sorry, that was not intentional. I'm just on a roll.
Put down the discount.
Nothing personal, Nick.
I apologize, I'm sorry, Nick, I'm sorry. I'm sure you will, I'm sure you will. Just something that we got, just in color?
No, there's some, I didn't have the information till 4:30 on some of it.
Thanks, sir.
Got one anyway. The top's filled out.
I don't think you've had a monetary update from me in a minute, so that's on the top. If you wanna go over it, we can. If you wanna just move along, we can do that as well. Or if there's any questions about it. That was not filled out on the one that you guys probably have, cause I did not have it until 4:30 this afternoon.
Do you want him to go over it or just move on?
No, I'm good.
We're good, we're good?
Okay, move on.
That's taken care of too.
The second one, is taken care of. Okay, those are just the line item creations for it then.
I think, well, we'll
We
have
have
to
to,
create
we
the
have to vote,
lines.
we have to vote to create them.
Cause I don't have them now. I think they've been
Yes.
created. You just have to vote to approve those.
Approve
Yep.
Okay, so, what we need to do is, have a
That's-
motion.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, the fund is separate from its own entity and then the line items correspond with that same fund number.
So we need to create the line items for Fund 1237, line 111170301 for Director Chief. Same fund number, line 1118. Training Officer, same fund number, line 11133. Deputy Director, Deputy Chief, and same fund number, line 11215 for instructors. And creating these line items will put the opioid abatement money into those accounts to pay the salaries out of. So I just need, I'll entertain a motion to create said line items.
I'll make a motion to create said line items within their budgets. Or
I'll
budget.
second.
All in favor?
Close.
Yes.
Let me ask a question, so I don't make you mad.
Oh,
Are we doing, a motion and a second and then discussion?
You've already approved the money.
yeah, this is all, this is the money. that
Making
we
the
approved.
lines.
We're just making them line items.
Okay,
In the budgets.
okay, well, that's,
Do you want to know something? Do you have a question? Statement?
Throw it out.
was there a problem with any of this that we were talking about earlier?
Opioid, not
no
with
problem.
this, not with the advertising for this. No, I don't believe so.
Okay, so we don't really have any,
No, this has already been voted on and we're now creating the line items for said money to be paid out of.
okay, is that correct? Okay,
All in favor? 7-0, all right. Okay,
Next thing, it was brought to our attention, the end of last month, I think, beginning of this month, I'm not sure, last few weeks, that the fairgrounds, I believe, is bringing events here through the summer. That was obviously not budgeted, because for years we did not have events besides the fair, and we didn't charge for the fair because it was a community event. This is a private entity, so there is I think it's an ordinance that's in place, I don't have the number, but there's an ordinance in place that we charge $1 or an hourly rate to those, private contractors, so we would need to A, create a line item, and B, create a dollar amount to do so. And then the account would have to be able to be revolving, because it wouldn't be any money out of our stuff, it's that those events would pay us and then we would pay out of it. So it's not that I need any extra money for it, I just need the line item creation and whatever you set the pay rate as. But it doesn't need to be funded by anything unless you have to put an initial dollar amount in there for $100, or I can move from a line item or whatever I need to do to fund that line item, because the money just has to be able to go in there from the event.
When's the first event?
April 10th, 17th, 12th, 10th, yeah, 12th.
You have to do the same with the fairground, I mean, at the
The
square.
fair we don't charge for because it's
At the square for the Mayberry days, you have to do that too.
if they require a dedicated ambulance, yes. If they don't require a dedicated ambulance, no. These events require a dedicated ambulance because for them, it's for the races. So there can't be a time that, depending on what happens in the county, an ambulance can't leave there or they have to stop racing. So they pay to have a dedicated unit there.
Okay, I got you, okay, thank you.
For me, I would like for our attorney to find this an ordinance or whatever, look it over and make sure that we are within the parameters of where we need to be, because I have concerns that we're asking a county employee to sit for X amount of hours for one rate of pay, which would possibly change their pay scale. And I don't think you can volunteer to work for county government. So
Say that again.
you can't volunteer to work for
Correct.
county government. So whatever their hourly rate is, we would have to equal that for them to be there for X amount of hours. So I would like just table it till the next meeting and let the attorney look at it, make sure we're within the parameters of where we need to be before we move
So I think
on.
it needs, obviously, it needs to happen and we need those services.
Right.
I just don't wanna get.
That's fine.
By labor laws.
So what do I do for the first race that there's a race before the meeting?
It shouldn't be. We'll have a meeting on the 11th of April, or second Tuesday is the 11th.
Yeah.
So if the
Okay.
race is on the 17th, that'll still give you 4 days. We just have everything in
It's on
order
the 12th.
on the 12th, so the next day. Game changer.
That's fine, I just need to know what to do.
We can, I think we can have everything ready to go to vote on, especially if it's not something that we're funding, the county is funding, it's just a line item. I just wanna
That's fine.
make sure we're not doing labor law violations, and then we can have it ready to go
For what it's worth, if the flat rate thing does work, that's my explanations on there.
easier.
That would be my recommendation, I feel like it would, if that's possible.
What's the normal time of a race?
That's what I'm saying.
4 to 5 hours.
4 to 5 hours.
Okay.
So I'll entertain a motion to table the event pay line item creation, funding and rate.
I'll second it.
Miller,
Now they're on a roll down.
all in favor for tabling? 7-0?
I will say that, that is a service that either way we're gonna have to provide, because we are a closed county, so.
Right.
I'm
I'm not opposed to providing it at all. I just wanna make sure that we're not
Yep.
opening ourselves and you up
I'd
to,
rather see somebody that's out there, if they're out there for 6 hours, I'd rather see them get the regular rate of pay, than get us in trouble over.
I don't disagree with that, it's just
Overlooking something.
90% of that's gonna be overtime, so you guys just have to realize that going in, cause that changes
We just
the
need to know what
services
our-
return for what we charge.
We just need to know what our options are per labor laws, per county laws, so,
to make sure we're in good standing.
Completely understand that, that's above my head.
alright.
Next thing, this was a complete oversight on my part and is 100% failure on my part. This is my fault and I'm owning it. When we did budget, I screwed up and I'm owning it. When we did budget, we've got that baby box installed May or June of last year. There is a yearly due, if you will, that you have to pay to that company. Complete oversight on my part. It's the first year we did it and I did not realize that. I did not budget for it. I didn't put it in the budget. I didn't think to put it in the budget. It's not budgeted. I need it budgeted. I will say that there is a fund existing, 9173, that is, was from the baby box fundraiser, if you will. The money's already sitting in there. I just need a line item appropriation to use out of there. I don't need money, just need a line item to create that wasn't originally created, because I failed to do my part when we did budget.
So we need to create a
What's
line
the-
item for the
$500.
$500,
a year.
and then do we have to,
It's once a year.
right,
I'm-
do we have to vote to
Transfer
transfer to
from,
appropriate from that fund to the new fund?
I think what he's got.
I think you can just create a line item
line
within
in
that fund,
Okay,
for the
would be my
annual.
understanding.
You good with that, Jennifer?
Yeah, we can do that.
Because it's, the fund is, I think
Okay.
the fund name is Baby Box,
okay.
like it's, is that correct?
That's what it was intended for.
Yes, that's all it can be used for.
Yes.
So I have John Miller making a motion
I'll
to
second.
create a line item, within Fund 9173.
But the fund is there, we just need to make the line on
What are we gonna call it?
Dues and subscriptions.
Dues and subscriptions.
I think if you use that's 37,000, that correlates with the other dues and
Dues and
subscriptions.
subscriptions,
Yeah.
okay.
That's why I put that on there.
Alright, so I have John Miller making a motion to create a line item for dues and subscription in Fund 9173. Got a second?
I second it.
I'm sorry, Diane. All right, all in favor? 7-0. All
And
right,
then do you have to move an X amount of dollars in there? Do we have to vote on that or no? I didn't hear that answer.
I don't think we did.
It's already been appropriated.
Okay. All right. 2 more things. The next thing, last meeting, the commissioners meeting, they voted to sign a MOU and a BAA for a partnership with for a community paramedic project. That again is at no cost to the county. An entity within the county received grant money. They wanted to partner with us. They've agreed to do that. They've agreed to fund all the expenses as far as the personnel goes. I would again just need a line item creation and then you guys to set a rate of pay for that position. They have agreed up to a certain dollar amount for that rate of pay, knowing that it'll probably be overtime. And then what they do is they front load that and then I invoice them every month and that money needs to go into that account.
So it has to be a paramedic and more than likely on overtime rate.
Correct.
Okay. And I actually asked Nick to come and us generate a fund or line item for housekeeping maneuvers, mostly because of this grant. Because looking forward in a couple of years, if the grant goes away and they come asking the county, we can simply look back, easier bookkeeping to see what monies have come in and out of this account to know what this program is costing the county as to whether we want to adopt it or not
To fund
in
it
the
or
future.
not. Yeah. And I agree that having a separate fund, watching the money come in and out, outside of 1151 would be my advisement as well, just because then it doesn't get tied up in the other money that I have going in and out of my account. I'd ask for a separate fund. They would initially front load and you can watch that money go out of that account. There would need to be those 3 line items that I listed for the community paramedic, the FICA, and the Social Security, and they would take care of all of that.
How many additional employees is that going to create?
0.
0, so you're just gonna use.
That's how they get the overtime, yep. Initially right now, so the goal with this is a 2-year grant. We get it for this year and next year. Right now the insurance companies are still figuring out how they're gonna allow for billing of this. But what it does is it allows community paramedics to go to these homes and people that may not need to go to the hospital can get treatment on scene and get prescriptions written on scene without having to go to a facility. It's good right now because this is something that I had mentioned when I first came here, because I think as far as community health goes, it's a great idea. But it can't make money right now because insurance companies don't pay. We've talked to our billing department, which deals with a lot of this already. They feel like in the next year or 2, everything will be ironed out and we'll know what those rates of pay are. And by doing this the next 2 years, like Mr. Ward said, we'll be able to say, hey, doing it this many times costed us this much money. If it brings in this much money based off of how many runs we did, will it cost the county money? Will we break even or will it make us money? I don't see this program ever making us money, but I do see it being a benefit to the community that may not cost the county much, if anything. But this is a good way for us to do it and not potentially lose money, county money or EMS money, doing this pilot program, if you will. And it's easier for that company as well because they don't have to get all the certifications that they need that I have.
Now my question
They're
is,
supplying vehicles and.
Vehicles, the only thing they are not supplying is personnel and equipment. And I already have personnel and I have equipment. They are supplying the vehicle, they are covering the vehicle insurance, they are putting my employees on their vehicle insurance. They are paying for the graphics, they are paying for everything that's happening with the vehicle. The things that I have to supply are people and equipment and supplies, those 3 things.
So with the rate of pay, they said that they set, or they suggested, or, so what is that rate of pay?
25 an hour.
And that will take, we're using our existing employees, right?
Correct.
So won't that detract from their, job that they're doing now?
I have a very small group of, no, because they can't do it on shift. Like they still have their normal shift.
Okay.
This initially, when it is deployed, will only be probably 2 to 3, probably 2 days a week initially. And then after a month or two, we revisit to see how many hospital discharges were going on, how many times we're going out on 911 runs with it. And then us and that company will sit down and say, hey, we need to scale this to 3 or 4 days a week, or we need to keep it at 2 or whatever. It's not 5 days a week, it's not 24 hours a day. It's gonna be initially 2 days a week for about 7 to 8 hours a day. So these would be extra shifts for them to pick up, and it is a very small group of my employees that qualify to do this.
With the 25, since they're funding it, and they created the rate of pay, did they provide a job description?
The job description will be the same thing as my paramedics.
Okay, I didn't know if there was a difference because of the community, and there is a different job, there is a different aspect to the job since they're writing prescriptions, correct?
Say that again.
So since they are able to write prescriptions, right, or?
We have the ability to do that now.
Okay.
The service does not allow it.
The service, okay, all right, okay,
A community paramedic, when you have that certification, is allowed to do it. We don't have that as like the community paramedic aspect of things, but that will, if I need to copy and change that, but I get what you're saying, you would need that job description with that in there.
Yes.
So the only thing that I can do is copy and paste the paramedic one and ask the ability to,
with the ability to.
That's the only
Paramedics make now.
issue I would see.
anywhere between 1775 and 1925.
So if their time and a half is the $25.
It's not time and a half, that's base. Your time and a half will be $37.50.
So that's not going to quite cover them on overtime, will it?
So
If they're on
If they're
overtime,
on
If they're on overtime, they're gonna be at 37.
that is knowing that they are going to be in overtime.
Okay,
But they know that their rate of pay will be that 37.
okay.
Because like we're setting a base for the one that would qualify that's part-time for my employees, but they know that there's still enough funding there for it to be that.
Okay.
And it be in overtime.
Okay, so first thing we need to do is I need to entertain a motion to create a fund, a community paramedic fund, correct?
yes.
Correct. That I can deposit into, that the money, like my account, that the money becomes immediately available.
I think we need to table this one too, until we can ask an attorney about,
Well,
make
so,
sure we're not getting ourselves into something we can't afford.
You're not,
We're
you're
not-
not paying for
costing
it.
us anything.
we're not paying anything.
We don't pay for
We
it.
don't pay anything. County does not pay anything. All we are doing is,
They're paying for FICA, they're paying for Social Security, and they're paying for the rate.
yes,
We will be out the first month until.
They're front loading
they're
it.
Okay,
front loading it, yeah.
okay.
So that's
Jennifer,
why
do
we
you
need
have
to
a
create those
fund
lines so
number
that they can
for this?
deposit it
You can make
into.
one.
We're just basically creating the fund
She did.
for them to.
To
put
deposit the
money
money that they give me into.
in. Yeah.
Well, my number one concern about it is that, you know, I'm old, I've been here a long time. Everything that we do that is off a grant or doesn't cost the county anything, a few years down the line, it costs the county something.
And that is why we're creating these so we can see when this grant is done and it's no longer funding this. If it does end, that we can look and say, is this worth the county taking on, or is it?
See it in black and
See it,
white instead
yeah.
of
And
sorting
because-
through his current budget.
And
to
because there
determine
are
where it
no additional, we're not hiring anybody to do this, nobody will be losing a position.
Exactly.
So-
That's-
And the MOU is only good through 12/31 of 24.
One other aspect that just publicly and we're not going to be writing any prescriptions for narcotics.
Yes.
We're only gonna write prescriptions for.
Antibiotics and steroids and like,
Yes.
I mean, and the thing is, we're not taking away the ability for them to go to the hospital. This is supported by our medical director because hospitals right now are inundated. This is supported by the community board, same reason. We're not allowing people to go to the hospital. We're trying to either, the people that are already not going to the hospital because they'll go to their family doctor or they'll deal with this later, those are the people that we're focusing on. We're not deterring anybody from going to the hospital. But if it's something that can be treated on scene, that's what it will be doing. We're not sending this person in replacement of an ambulance. If anything, we're sending this person in conjunction with an ambulance and deciding there what needs to be done. It's not taking away from anything we're already doing.
Yeah, and and since you're not hiring any employees, or you don't have any additional equipment, then there won't be any additional expense, because you won't have to have an office for the employees, you won't have to have, you know, all that stuff that we get caught up with when we put additional, people off a grant or whatever the case may be.
Yep, so the
That
person,
won't be involved in this particular case.
no, because the person that needs an office will be a mobile office, and I have an extra conference room that they're going to use while they're there, the 2 days a week. So it's not, we're not adding onto the building, we're not adding any equipment, I already have a monitor, like I have the stuff that we need. That's why, for them to purchase this would eat over half their grant. So that's why we're working together, so they can save their grant money to utilize this the best that they can. The only thing they're using me for is equipment and people.
And you've got all the supplies, the equipment, everything else, and all they're gonna do is reimburse you.
Correct. I bill them monthly.
Right.
So I would make a motion that we create a fund in the community paramedic with a fund, community
fund.
paramedic fund with a fund number to be determined by the auditor.
Okay, I have a motion.
I second it.
Collins. All in favor to create a community paramedic fund? All in favor? No? Okay, so now we need to
Create line items within
create,
that fund.
yeah, so now I need a motion to create a FICA line item within the community fund.
We need community paramedic, FICA, and social security, 3 of them.
And I would do supplies as well, but that's up to you.
Supplies. So, make another motion to create line items for community paramedic, FICA, social security, and supplies within the fund of community paramedic.
Second that motion.
Hold on, Collins. Do I need to repeat?
No,
Okay.
I guess well, go ahead if you want to, but I got a little bit of a question, it's not that.
No, so I have a motion by JR to create line items for community paramedic, FICA, social security, and supplies within the community paramedic fund. And that's seconded by John Collins.
Okay, with those things in place, does that or does that not have the county, responsible if anything goes bad, that we have to pay those, items?
I think that's covered in that
That's
MOU.
covered in that MOU.
MOU and the BAA make them financially liable, and when they're out there, they're covered by their liability insurance.
Okay, and that takes care of the FICA, the social security, all that. Okay.
Yep.
Alright, all in favor?
I've tried to figure all this out for you.
All in favor? 7-0.
Quality question.
I appreciate those.
Alright,
Last thing that I've got is, the bottom there, you can see, starting this year, our cash ledger was at, 592,639, and today we're at 711,275.
good job.
Nice.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Do you need to send one of your paramedic job descriptions over? Do you want me to send it up to HR and have that?
Yeah, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy and paste what I have and add the one in there about prescription writing.
Now,
And
Mr. Chester,
then
it's your
I'll
turn.
send it to you.
If you want to do that, then I'll forward it
To
to
the
them.
Irwin Shuley.
Yeah, I would at least just like to have that on the
Kind of look
file
at it, yeah.
to cover it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening.
Hey, how are you?
I'm hanging in there.
Thank you very much for allowing me to step before you this morning, or this afternoon. We wanted to be here tonight to actually ask for your reconsideration of the Scott County District Commission's salaries. Adrian Smallwood's salary, would love to have it reinstated at the proposed 2023 budget figure of $26,546. I would also like to ask the council.
You got a copy of that?
Pardon me?
You got a copy of
I
that?
don't, but I can certainly provide you a copy of
Can we
that.
get a copy of that so we can look at what you're saying?
Pardon?
Can we get a copy of that? Jennifer?
I can go print those off. I
Would you
think.
like to read?
Yeah,
Do you want the job description or the salary
Just
ordinance?
the numbers, because you're gonna have off numbers. I need to
Yeah.
have them.
Okay.
Yeah, just.
Sure.
You want me to copy that for you?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Thank you, Jennifer. Sorry, Mark.
You're all good.
No
How many
worries.
employees do you have, Mike?
Pardon me?
Is it- How many
There's
employees?
just two of us.
Yeah, two.
Yes.
Okay.
And when she gets back, I'll get to my salary. And what I'd like to do is ask you to reinstate that at the 2022 council-approved budget figure for me, and I'll give you that exact figure when she returns. Unfortunately, when, as you all know, when you incur salary cuts, as we did, it makes it very difficult to not only pay your bills, but also provide for your family. Adrian's salary was cut by about 38% and drops her below a salary figure when she started in 2011.
She's part-time, correct?
She is part-time, 24 hours. The salary cut that I incurred drops my pay down to $36,000, which is actually almost nearly $4,000 less than when Diane had the position back in 2011. Thank you.
How long have you been there?
I'm on my 5th year.
Fifth, okay. And you're full-time or part-time?
I am full-time.
Full-time.
I should ask for
So this is Adrian's reading.
Thank you.
And then that's what I'm asking to be reinstated to again is the 2022 council approved $57,881.25. Now, this is less, it does not include the $400 a month insurance stipend that they provided, or the additional salary increase to cover that additional $400 in taxes that is associated with that. That is considered revenue by the IRS. So that just drops me down to a straight salary level. And
Any thoughts, questions, concerns?
So what is her title? Is she,
well,
you're the director?
her position has changed significantly. She was prior to kind of a physical administrator. But if you start breaking down everything she does, she's kind of an administrative assistant, bookkeeper, she's a welcome center manager, as well as a marketing assistant.
So this number you got wrote over here at the side, that's what the salaries are now?
That's what they are now.
Yes.
Her salary right now
This
is,
here's what they were prior.
the $26,546 at the top with Adrian is what we had proposed for her for this budget year, 2023.
What was her 2022 budget?
Pardon me?
What did she make in 2022?
I'm not sure I had that off the top of my head, I apologize.
She worked 24 hours a
But
day.
this budget
24 hours,
was
yes,
including that she was gonna be continuing her job as it was with doing all the books and all the record keeping and everything that was turned over,
I'm sorry.
correct? This $26,546
Yes,
would have been her job, her salary, with her considering what she was doing before with all the bookkeeping and doing all the books. So you take that aspect away from the job,
all she's not doing is writing the checks. She's still keeping track of all the financials for our organization, for our department.
So she works 24 hours, and you're there 40 hours a week?
What is it, 30, 35 now?
35.
It used to be 40.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around.
Sure.
I, for one, I'm not interested in changing salaries in the middle of the year. You know, this stuff gets addressed at budget time. And I think it needs to be left alone till budget.
That's what I was gonna say. I would almost want to compare apples to apples with what an administrative assistant does with other administrative assistants at budget time, and as well as a director of a department at budget time. I mean, I had no part in setting this before, but I'm pretty hard-nosed on changing stuff outside of budget time.
Well, and I think we've already set a precedent
Salaries.
by, not changing any salaries that have come in front of us until they are proposed at budget time. We've already set a precedent with that. So, that's my take on it. So, I just need
I'd like to make a motion to leave it alone.
okay. So I have a motion from, thank you. I know it was a Johnny White, to keep the salaries as is until proposed at budget time, and then we'll revisit it. Do I have a second? Diane? All in favor? 7-0.
Thank you all very much for at least hearing me.
Thank you. Yes.
Budget. Katrina. Budget time, revisits. 7-0.
I have some staff with me, and I have some data for you guys on programs also. Hopefully I can get the papers apart. Go. Maybe I can get them apart.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I think, Jennifer, do they have the proposal that I gave you?
They're right here. Now, these say commissioners, is that?
Yes,
Okay,
it's the
all
same
right.
thing
Okay.
though, it's what they approved, so I just kinda left it alone.
Okay. Let you guys pass these down.
I may not have enough copies. I apologize if I don't.
We got enough, I think.
We
Has
got it.
everybody got
There
one?
should be
Yeah,
enough.
we got enough.
Yep.
Enough.
So I'm here to, request approval for $20,000 of the opioid abatement money, toward our prevention programs. So this will provide match money for our drug-free communities program and our community-based prevention program.
And this has already been approved by commissioners.
Yes.
What's your program do?
So we, it's all about prevention as far as, drug use and things like that. We go into the schools and we present the prevention programming. Katie Rice does a lot of, community-based things, so events and then just awareness and information. Dylan's program, the Drug Free Communities, works in coordination with CEASE a lot, and they go out and do things in the community. They have a coalition, which is CEASE, and they have different work groups that do different things, and Dylan can speak better on his program than I can, honestly.
Okay, so this has already been approved by the commissioners for the opioid abatement, 20,000. Any questions, concerns, issues? I will entertain a motion to approve or deny the abatements.
Yeah, we're going to, you know, sadly, I wasn't here to vote for the attorney, but are we gonna ask our attorney about abatement stuff before we make moves on some of these other?
This one would definitely fit 100%.
Yeah, this one is, because it's so specific, so.
And it's all the Scott County partnership.
Yeah, so this one fits in that. The ones that I think are gonna look at her for guidance are the unrestricted, is that what it's called? The unrestricted funds, to make sure that those unrestricted funds fit. But because this is so specific, it fits in it, so.
So your program kind of works kind of in conjunction with the program.
Well, I'm the executive director, so, I'm the director of the partnership, so they're partnership programs.
Okay.
I don't know, does that make sense?
It's all
Okay.
education and drug prevention, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, these programs are, yes.
What are you making a motion to do?
I make a motion, we do this thing.
Do this thing.
Okay, so I have Diane making a motion to approve $20,000
Can't get much more professional than that.
from the opioid abatement fund. Johnny White seconds it, all in favor? 7-0, okay. Is that it?
Thank you all.
Amanda?
They were under the budget?
It says under the direction, yes, a Thrive works underneath.
It's the same price as the other one, so.
You're gonna need it tomorrow, right? I knew there was something I had to do tomorrow. Probably not, but.
I did the last time, but this one was short notice. Normally I do provide lunch.
Well, I've been, all day, there's something I gotta do tomorrow. All right. Just stop. Doing good so far. All right. Ms. Hurd.
Last 2 Wednesdays, sorry, getting confused. 2 Wednesdays ago, went to the commissioners and got approved for a new position, as a pretrial case manager. That is working, with a partnership through IRACS, through the Scott County Jail. And that's also through our partner Thrive through Scott County. We're already basically we're doing it all, but it's underneath a different case manager. So at this current time, I actually have administrative assistants who are supervising 10 to 15 clients who should not be supervising clients. So I need to, they approved for me for the new position for a pretrial case manager. I just needed a line item made in my 2503, which is my user fee budget, to pay for that position.
So we're not hiring anybody new, correct?
There will be, it's a whole new position.
It's a whole new position, so it'll be a whole new hire.
Possibly could be internal, I'm not sure if they're gonna apply or not, but.
So the grants, they funded 100%?
So it's through my user fees, so I will fund it and IRACS will help. So with my grant last year I asked for the position. We had an open position, which we still have right now. They wouldn't give me any extra funding at that point in time. But they said if I could show that I could sustain it on my own out of my user fees, they were more than likely to be able to give it to me in my grant. If not, I'm able to fund it out of my user fees that I collect off of my home detention clients each year.
So IRACS then will pick up the slack if your user fees do not. How long is IRACS?
It is good for a year, so it would grant us until, actually it's gonna go over because I was trying to start it in January, wasn't able to get it approved before January. So actually their money will actually go into 2024.
So is IRACS a year-to-year type
Yes.
thing? So what happens if IRACS bows out and you can't fund the user?
My user fees would be able to
They
fund the
would be
position.
able to fund the
So
position.
one way or the other, you're funding it yourself, basically.
Okay.
County will be out of your money. I don't have a problem with that.
You said you have an open position now?
I do not, I do, in my side, my grant. So because I'm still interim director, I have an open position in my grant. I'm hoping tomorrow at my advisory board that I'm able to fill that position because I need a field officer in my office. Once all of my positions are filled in my grant, the state is more likely to give you more money. But if you have,
That's what I was gonna say, it's hard to
We've had an
approve
open-
adding another position if we have an open one.
So she was keeping them.
I have to keep it open for myself. If they don't make me director, I have to have a spot to fall back into.
Now, I gotta throw in here real quick, why are you still interim?
Well, they're hoping to change that tomorrow, maybe. It'll be,
That's
it's up
been
to
a
my
board-
advisory board.
Advisory board thing, so
Yeah.
why it's taken that long, I
So,
don't really know, so.
in all honesty, we've had an interim director for 4 years. So, and that's all up to the advisory board. The advisory board makes the recommendation to the commissioners, and then the commissioners can either say yes or no at that point.
We have about 4 or 5 people we can put on the advisory board.
We filled up my advisory board.
Yeah,
It's
we got
completely
that,
full.
I got that done.
Well, okay, that's good.
And we hadn't had a full advisory board in probably 4 years, and last commissioners meeting, the commissioners filled the advisory board.
All right, bottom line is, what you're telling us is that you've got everything you need to cover all expenses for this position, whatever the case may be, and the county's not gonna get stuck with any bills.
Correct.
So,
One way or the other, whether she gets grant money or she's got her other money, she's taking care of it, county's not out any funds. We won't have to take over if her grant money doesn't come through, she's got it.
Okay.
so I will,
I'll make a motion.
Do you need to know the total?
You probably will.
probably, yes.
I know the base salary is $18.85 an hour, and it's a 40-hour a week.
Then it also has
Then it'll also have
benefits,
benefits.
longevity, all that stuff
And again, all of that is,
included in your cost.
okay, so I have a motion by, Miller,
Yeah.
John Miller, to create a pretrial case manager position under 2503. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Diane, Miller, Diane. All in favor?
It's not gonna cost us any money.
So, I'm sorry, I didn't see whether it was up or down, okay.
It is now, I know.
So, okay,
Thanks, guys.
Yep, thanks, Amanda.
you gotta get through. Okay,
No, Vic and
salary discrepancies. Is this you? Part of you? Why don't you come up and
Come hither.
we'll deal with you.
So I'm not asking for money either.
We like it, we don't ask for money.
So what happened to us is, in the budget that was approved for the 2023, you guys approved the budget, the money is there, but in the salary ordinance, the updated budget was not updated in the salary ordinance. So the salary ordinance that is going into the, State Board of Accounts just needs to have an amendment
That says,
that says what the budget says. And then it also needs to include that elected officials are allowed to receive election pay if they work the polls,
As long as you're not on the
as
ballot.
long as they are not on the ballot.
So what's the discrepancy? What's it
I-
need to say or whatever?
yes, it needs to say, so,
You guys can fix that,
So this is the,
or have
it
fixed it.
needs to put that.
alright, so the salary ordinance is regarding election workers, not employees of your office?
It is election, yes.
Election, okay, alright. I'm
Yes,
with it.
this is not general
Okay.
budget, this is the election budget. We have to have this.
Sorry, for a
because-
minute, I was like,
The
tired of hearing
election,
about this.
the election, so the budget is already approved.
Yeah,
So the, mess up is the mechanics, the old salary for the mechanics, or the old election pay was $1,000. It has been increased to $1,500 because the position has, the work for that position has increased. The budget has been approved, but it just didn't get updated.
and also with adding that terminology, that would help you find people to work and cover.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, I will just say, I mean, Lindy has worked the polls for years and years, but now that she's an elected official, the State Board of Accounts is like, all we need is that her salary ordinance as being an elected official says
That I can still do.
That you
that
can do.
it's her constitutional right to do it. Just state law says we have to have it in the elected officials. So any of you can work
As long as
the
you're not on the
polls.
polls.
on the
Poll
ballot.
workers,
Why'd you
as
look at
long
me
as
like
you're
that?
not on the ballot.
Why'd
She
look
want
at
you
me
to
like
work,
that?
get out there, get out there, son.
Hey, I'm always
You're the
looking
meet
for
and
poll
greet
workers.
face that,
So we
Yeah.
approved the rate, the amount, it just didn't get fixed, and then it has to have that stuff in there.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm not asking for
I'll
money.
make a
I already
motion to
have the
fix
money.
your all screw up.
I'll second it.
I wasn't here.
Keep talking.
I wasn't here.
I am not saying that it is anyone's mess up.
No.
We're not gonna play that bright, blame.
So I have
I would make a motion to accept the updated amendment number
One.
1 to 2023-001, and also include the verbiage of any elected official not on a ballot will be eligible for compensation for any position worked on election day.
I second it.
Jesus Christ.
I'll second it.
Okay,
I'm
I'm
gonna go
Everybody
Diane,
seconds
because
it.
she was very nice and waited.
And I have
Dang.
All
one,
in
two,
fa-
three.
all in favor? 7-0.
7 of us
people.
don't have to work.
6 people that are not on the ballot this year.
Alright, 7-0
I'm
to
kidding.
fix salary.
That's all I need.
See, I told you.
Easy enough.
Alright, bye.
Moving right along. Have a good night.
Thank you, ladies and
Get
gentlemen.
out.
Yes, ma'am. Have a good evening.
Next.
Alright, next on the salary discrepancies.
It's all the sheriff stuff
Okay.
that JR has, and I think,
Yeah, so I can take the spearhead on this if you want. As of last night, I watched the council meeting from December 21st, 2022, in which numerous times it says in there that if you are full-time, you get to answer your phone in the middle of a meeting. If you're full-time, you are going to get a 3% pay raise. If you are part-time, you will get a 1% pay raise. And then it specifically speaks on the sheriff's salary and says in that meeting, to add 1.5% to the base of the deputies and corrections in his pay matrix, because there was 1.5% built in. And that's what was agreed upon, and it was reiterated. The sheriff himself was sitting in that chair right there in the audience. However, he sent a letter to the auditor with figures that are nowhere near what they should be. They added more percentage into the matrix. They have part-time people making more than full-time people. And so I think as this board, we should set the part-time deputy salary, which would be a 1% increase from $21.50 an hour to $21.72 an hour, and that's where all part-time deputies would make, because they're not eligible for a matrix or longevity in the county as per the county handbook. And then part-time corrections would be set at $17.73, which is a 1% increase. And as, again, not included in a pay matrix because they are not eligible for longevity. Moving to the pay matrix, your base deputy would be $21.82, which is a 1.5% increase from $21.50. Putting that into the base of the deputy and then push it through with his 1.5 built in. Same with corrections, $17.81 would be their base, which is a 1.5, and moving that through the pay matrix of the sheriff's office would take care of all of this salary discrepancies, as what the prior council approved and was reiterated in December.
So what we approved for the 2023 budget as the previous council was correct. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So I would like to make a motion to keep the salaries for both full-time and part-time jail and sheriff's deputies as is, as was approved by the previous council.
I got a comment on that particular motion. Of course, everybody's free to make motions however they want to, but if nothing's gonna change that we've already voted on, we don't need a motion.
And good point.
Sure.
I just wanted to make my point that it was, that we were sticking to what we did it correctly.
Well, even in that meeting that everybody can review in December, it was brought up for a motion to change it then, and that motion was denied 4-3, and it stays as is set, so those figures handed to them, you should be able to punch them in and get us
think we
on
can
track.
get that. I may wanna look at your copies, if you
Yes.
don't care.
Yeah, I
make
just
sure
gave them to you
that-
all.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
We do have one more thing on that salary discrepancy. Amy had come to Trina and said that the matron pay was put in the ordinance incorrect.
And that I wanna ask our attorney, because I don't know and can't find where the chief deputy and or the matron is
Yeah.
based on anyone else's salary.
I
Those
think
were
that
always
they-
set.
When I looked at this, it looked like they accidentally, the year before, put the jail commander pay on the matron's pay.
Yeah.
Because that's the same number, 2225.
Well,
But they
I
said they paid him that last year, so they gotta continue to pay him that.
well, I say we,
They had a
We-
chance to look at this, you know.
yes, so I say that we keep it as is. What we approved is what we approved. Okay, all right. Next on the agenda, Sheriff's Commissary report. I think last meeting we were supplied by the Sheriff's Commissary report. He is required by State Board of Accounts and to provide us in June and December real-time updates to the commissary reports, and it is our job to approve or reject them.
So I called State Board of Accounts and asked, because this, I don't even wanna call this a report, this paperwork that was turned in is nowhere near what is required by the state or the State Board of Accounts, and they specifically told me there is a State Form 205 that is required for this information to be on and be turned into us semi-annually. The only exception to that is if this county has a form that is approved by State Board of Accounts. Either way, they will never accept miscellaneous deposits, miscellaneous charges, things of that nature. We have to have more of a detailed report, and therefore, I would make a motion that we deny this current commissary expense, that sheet that he turned in. And I would like to set some kind of time frame for him to update us with the proper state form. But I would ask the other members of the board what they feel is appropriate for a time frame for that.
If the state auditor says it's supposed to be on form, then it has to be on form.
How long do we
you wanna
give
them
to
till the next meeting?
next meeting to present that?
Okay. Any other comments on this? Okay, I have a motion by JR to reject the county sheriff's commissary report for the period of January 1 through January 30th, 2022, and July 1 through December 31st, 2022. And give him until the next meeting, which is April 11th, to supply an approved form, Form 205, an updated commissary fund report. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? 7-0. Yes.
Can you send him a letter requesting that? And that's Form 205 if you need that.
State
is
Form
what-
205.
Yep, unless there's been
Actually,
something else approved by State Board of Accounts in that case.
see if I can find it, I may even just include that with the
Sir.
letter.
11th of April,
4/11.
4/11/23, sorry. What'd you say?
I may include that with the letter, if I can
Okay.
print off the form and just
Okay.
send the whole thing.
That'll work, thank you.
Hold on. Let's see. Report. 205, do 5. All right, so the next item, the Mitchell Allen Ritz invoice. So this is the invoice that is the architect from the judge that came from that the commissioners approved, so we have to pay it. With everything going on, we really do need to get this paid, so this is not on, looking negatively on the county. So, I am going to make a motion to pay the outstanding bill to Mitchell, Allen, and Ritz in the amount of $16,000 out of the Commissioner's budget line item 30701, professional services. I think that's the name of it, professional services.
And what is this for?
This is a architect plan, correct me, that the Commissioners apparently approved the judge to retain to start a plan for renovation of the courthouse, which now we have to pay. So we're going to pay it out of the Commissioner's budget line item 3701. Get it paid off our books.
A motion.
I made a motion. All in favor? 7-0.
Pay the bills.
Take it. Okay. Budget. Architect.
Do we need to amend or remove that?
No. 16, pay, motion. Who seconded?
Eric.
7-0, okay. Have you guys had a chance to glance, oh, yes.
I got a question about that.
Yes, sir.
Can somebody explain to me how they did this without coming to council?
Which part?
How they was able to go ahead and
Cause you guys
get
approved
permit?
them.
Yeah, we're not council.
Huh?
Anything that we approve should be going to you.
You guys
So how does it bypass you guys? Does anybody know?
Zach looked back through everything and said that you guys had approved it and approved the claim. And that's where it got screwed up, is because you guys approved the claim. To have the claim paid.
Paid, which then sends it to
Well, once
us.
they do the work, we're going to approve the claim because they did the work,
How I don't have an answer for you, is how it bypassed us, I don't know. That's
And this goes back to 2020, 2021, something
They
like that?
started working in here in 2020, and there was, I think,
Was
maybe
it-
in May of 2022 was still, I think that was the next one where it was.
Cause I read
approved.
some minutes in one of
It
our
did,
meetings.
they've been in and out of the office, and I'm not, or in and out of the courthouse, but I don't know, some of it was for the entryway when they had to do it for security and the COVID, and they've been in here different times, and it's not really been specific in the minutes to say, oh, they were doing this scope of work or this scope of work, just that they were in here and that it was approved. And I think the last time was May of 2022 when possibly this was approved.
So I don't have an answer for you. They did the work and then the claim was submitted and you guys approved it, so here we are.
I mean, because to be honest with you, at no time was we ever told a budgetary number of where they was, what they was charging us.
In one of the minutes that I read, it says not to exceed $2,000. But
And then they
then
came
it
back.
was kicked back and we found another one that says they were requested by the commissioners to change or modify the plan that they had submitted. And that, I guess, is the 14,000
thinking
extra dollars.
But at that point in time, they should have came back to you guys.
That I don't know.
Not to you.
Right.
It would have been.
Yeah, with previous council and they just went ahead and did the work, so. I don't have an answer for you, for that. I just know it needs to be
I'm
paid.
not sure the 2,000 wasn't for just the entryway into the courthouse. I think that might have even been.
That's what I'm saying, like you said, there's no scope of work of what they're doing. There's nothing in the minutes, it just says that you talked about it and then approved it.
So how do we stop it from happening again?
Scope of work, tell them, or a joint meeting with us, or whatever we were gonna do to work with you guys to make sure we're on
Maybe
the
you
right.
don't sign off on
same
any
page.
work until it comes in front of us, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. Something needs, I mean, there needs to be a precedent, something needs to change, but, because otherwise we're gonna be right back here.
And this bill also has been hanging on the county since
Yes.
mid 22.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they done the work, they need to be paid.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I've never
But
denied that.
how it skipped the whole process of going to the council and getting up to this number, that's the
From what
question.
I understand, the commissioners approved the judge to do this, and he went and did it. Is kinda how my simplistic understanding of it was. Never,
The thing about it,
I was under the impression that he was paying this out of his.
and
budget.
I asked Zach to look into that, and nowhere was it ever,
But that started back before I got here,
Yes.
which
Well,
is my
the-
fault for assuming.
Yeah, well, the good part of this discussion is that, you know, we're getting to, where we need to communicate better with, you know, you did this, and then we need to do this, or we didn't get, nobody, spoke to us about it, or came to us about it, and then you wouldn't know that unless we got it to you somehow or another, you see what I mean? So if we don't get those two things together, you know, I can call and say, well, we did this last night, but that's really not business. We need to kind
Well,
of
just-
figure out some way where we can make these things.
Another recent example was you all were told about vehicles that it was in someone's budget, and that's not the case. The case of the matter was they have in their budget to pay a payment if they go get a loan
for 1 year.
for 1 year. So if you approve a set amount of money, maybe we send you a letter or have them come here, we give them something to send back to you, whatever way you all wanna work with us, we're more than willing to do that. But yeah, I wanna set a precedence where that doesn't ever happen again, that someone just says, yep, I got it, and here you go. And same here, you know, just spend it, and then 6 months later, we got a bill for 14,000 more than what we can justify
Well,
for.
yeah, I don't know how he bypassed council.
I don't
Well, he
either.
just didn't come, you know, I mean,
Just-
that's.
He just, he
Just
just didn't
didn't do it.
come, and he had the work done,
Yeah.
so.
And so,
Okay.
and you didn't know that because they didn't tell you.
Right.
And we didn't
So-
know that
so-
it was being done.
And so, you know, if you just don't get the word, then you don't get it.
Okay, well, let's put it this way, you know, we need a lawnmower out here, so how do I bypass you guys and just go ahead and get that?
You don't.
Well, come on now, everybody else is doing it. Everybody else is doing it, how do I do it?
We're getting ready to fix that.
Okay, so,
You have to be more
Motion.
clever.
so has everybody had a chance to glance over and the regular minutes from January 5th, February 14th?
I move that we approve the minutes of January 5th and February 14th.
I third it.
You third it, all in favor? So Collins,
Collins Miller.
okay.
I move that we
Okay, Collins,
I'll second it.
all in
Yeah.
favor?
Beat you, Miller.
geez, I didn't even get to say it.
And then the
We're reading.
consideration of special minutes, January 31st.
I move that we,
They done beat you
we
to it.
did, oh, okay. Well,
They're all
well,
throwing
sorry.
hands up
All
out
in favor?
I was jumping the
7-0.
Anybody want anything out there? We're in the voting mood.
I
We're-
have,
Yes, ma'am.
that is all on our
Sit down,
agenda.
Nick.
I will entertain a motion to close today's council, yes, ma'am.
Oh, I was thinking
To close today's council meeting, I have Eric making a motion to close.
I second it.
Everybody second.
Everybody seconds.
All in favor?
7-0.
All right, we're done.
Done.
See ya.
Turn me off.